up with it?
What's up with it?
Nothing much. Introduce yourself, let the people know who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Mikala McGhee. I am from St. Louis, Missouri, and I am your newly crowned Miss Missouri USA.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll kind of speak about that a little later on in the interview.
Yeah.
We'll kind of start from the beginning with you. Are you originally born in St. Louis?
I was not born in St. Louis, but I've lived here since I was 3 years old. So
yeah, St. Louis.
It's been that's what I'm saying. I was actually born in Alton, Illinois, and then my parents moved over to the Bridgeton area where I grew up when I was 3. So St. Louis County, Bridgeton. Shout out to them.
How was your life growing up in St. Louis?
I'll say my life growing up in St. Louis was amazing. I cannot complain one bit about my childhood. I grew up in Bridgeton, Missouri, went to Pattonville, up and down that district, elementary school, middle school, high school. I had 2 sisters. I lived in a subdivision where we had a lot of kids around our age, so we were always outside and playing. My parents thankfully were able to provide for me to be in a lot of sports and participate on a lot of teams, so I was always very active, on the go. Sound in my faith. I come from a very Christian-based family. We all loved on each other. Not to say that there weren't hardships or we weren't going through anything, but I think I had a really great childhood.
Yeah, I think one of your sisters followed the name Alexia.
Alexia, yeah, she's my oldest sister. Yep.
Yeah, I think when I posted the you was starting to compete.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's seen. I guess she's seen it and shared it, but yeah.
They're supporters. They're ride or die for real.
Definitely. You said that you played sports coming up. I know you played basketball. You played other sports?
Yeah, well, I did so much growing up. Again, my parents, very blessed that they just threw me into everything and kind of let me figure out what was best for me. So I even did dancing, ballet, jazz, tap, all of that, and got into gymnastics. Started playing team sports, soccer, softball, basketball. Dabbled in volleyball for a little bit, even tried swimming out, but really found that softball, soccer, and basketball were my 3 main sports that I really enjoyed playing. I was able to get coached by my dad in a lot of those sports, and soccer and basketball is where I really, really excelled. I did do very well in gymnastics, but I started getting too tall, and it was taking up too much time doing everything, so I just had to pick team sports.
Yeah. I know you had a very well good career at Pattonville as far as a basketball player.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You got the career high of points, right?
Yes, I have.
You set the record, didn't you?
I am holding the record for points scored for girls basketball at Pattonville. 10 years strong, baby, so.
10 years strong.
Hang that jersey up!
Yeah, and also even at Pattonville, you made MTV's Made.
I did. So my sophomore year, my sophomore year of high school, MTV Made came into the St. Louis area, and they were just going to different high schools, trying to find people to be on their TV show. And at first, I wasn't even going to do it. I was not trying to apply. This was right when basketball season was in the thick of it. I was telling other people what to do and what to say to go apply. I was like, just do this. They're looking for a story. I've always had a mind for stories, and I would say television and movies. I love movies. I've always been a movie girl. I was like, they're looking for a storyline. And even though my story was genuine, I was this tomboy who wanted to be made into a ballroom dancer. That was real, but I was like, that is a storyline. So finally, on the last day, I was like, I'm gonna go audition, apply, talk to them, and I was the last person that day and ended up being the person picked for the show.
Man, that's good. That's good. I guess it's the start of your presence on the TV screens. And I'm glad you said that the tomboy things. I was kind of getting a sense of that. You used to go to the gun range and things like that as well. Also, some of your hobbies.
I was just, again, wrapped up in sports. I was the girl who was playing with all the guys up at the Bridgeton Community Center. I was trying to play pickup. If they were doing anything outdoors fun, I was there. The way I dressed, I was even, in sweats all the time. I wouldn't say I was boyish, but I was just in the mix of, wanting to be this really great athlete, which kind of put me in that crowd with a lot of the guys who were being more active and outdoors and trying to be in that scene as well.
Gotcha. Did Bradley Bill attend Pattonville as well?
No, Brad didn't go to Pattonville. He went to Chaminade, and me and him became friends. You know, the basketball world here.
Yeah.
The St. Louis in general is small, but me and Brad became friends in high school. We were both one of the most dominant players in the area, so it all kind of just folded that way.
Yeah, it's kind of like, what's the movie? Love and Basketball.
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't say it was all love and basketball.
Well, then, you know.
Yeah, no. We were strictly, honestly, just friends in high school, which was really cool. Our friend groups kind of just gravitated towards each other. Again, just being athletes, being young, being people who kind of knew we had a future in it.
Yeah.
But we were strictly friends in high school, so no romance then.
Okay, as you progress, you end up going to, was it Missouri State? And then later transition to Florida coast, Gulf Coast, right?
Yeah, so long story with my collegiate career, but I graduated from Pattonville High School, had a Division I basketball scholarship to Missouri State University. So I was a proud Lady Bear for 2 years, my freshman and sophomore year, and then really just wanted a change in my environment, really. I was double majoring at Missouri State in sports management and communications. And I felt like I needed to be, at that time, my young self thought that I needed to be in a bigger city to be able to network and make those connections. So my freshman coach, Nyla Millison, actually ended up getting a job at George Mason University out in Fairfax, Virginia. So after my sophomore year, I departed, did a transfer from Missouri State University. It broke my heart because I loved that team. I loved my coaches. But I thought at that time I was doing what was best for me. So I went to George Mason University and was still able to graduate. I was still a student athlete, you know, so I can't complain.
Yeah. And in 2016-2017 season, you guys made it to the final. Did you win?
We didn't win. So after I graduated from George Mason University, I did a post-grad transfer to Florida Gulf Coast University, where I was able to play my 5th year of eligibility and also start my master's degree. I was able to complete my master's degree about a year and a half after I was done playing basketball. I'll be honest, I had a little slip up, you know. I started working and making money, and I was like, I don't need this master's degree. But I got back to it, and I finished it, everybody. So, okay, I finished it, and so proud of myself for doing that. But my 5th year at Florida Gulf Coast was my favorite year of basketball ever. My coach, Carl Smesko, and his staff really rejuvenated my love for the game. Playing at that level for so long, it can get really weary on your mind and your body, but they just made me fall in love with basketball again. And we had a really, really good team. We won our conference championship tournament and went to the NCAA tournament. We ended up losing in the first round to Miami by 1 point. So it was a heartbreaking loss. Sad way to go out, you know, career-wise, but it was such a good time. I loved being an Eagle.
I'm sure. I don't want to skip over this, but say you get your master's, was it in criminal justice?
Yep, master's criminal justice, law and administration, and then my undergrad was communications with an emphasis in public relations.
Why did you pursue that degree?
Well, like I said, when I was at Missouri State, I was on track to double major. So I already had a lot of those credits for communications, public relations, I guess, for George Mason. So when I transferred, I had to lose a lot. So I wasn't going to be on track to double major at George Mason, but I could still get my communications major. And my plan was to go get my master's in either business or mass media. That wasn't the case because the NCAA has a lot of really funky rules. So the only way that I could transfer and attend Florida Gulf Coast University was to get into the program that I selected, which was criminal justice, law and administration, because it was just slightly different enough from what George Mason had at Florida Gulf Coast where it qualified me to still make the transfer.
Gotcha. And then 2019 is when you joined CERT. 2018.
2018 is when I joined the surge. Yeah. So I finished 16, 17 was my last year at Florida Gulf Coast University. I stayed down in Florida for 1 year after that, so 17, 18, and was just working, again, kind of going to school, working. Things didn't end up, I wanted to stay in Florida. I love me some Florida. I thought I was meant to be on someone's beach all the time, you know.
Soaking up the sun.
No, seriously, but it didn't end up working. Moved back home, was trying to figure out my purpose, what I was supposed to be doing. So I started substitute teaching. I even went back to coaching at Pattonville High School. My dad was the varsity girls basketball coach at the time, so he allowed me to step in and serve as a helper for him and just see if I liked it, you know. And thankfully, me and Khalia Collier, the owner of the St. Louis Surge, ended up reconnecting, and we went to lunch, and I kind of told her where I was at in my life, just in that unknown territory of I don't really know what's next, and I know I can feel, you know, my passion is stirring up. I want to figure out what my purpose is here, you know. She really took me under her wing and served as a mentor and helped me, and she invited me to the St. Louis Surge family. I started off as a communications and social media intern for her, and then it played itself out into me becoming a player on the team as well. So I was serving a dual role at first.
And you also was a reporter too. Started your internship at Kplr.
That was after my first season. So I played my first season with the Surge, and ironically, I went as a Surge player and did an interview with with Channel 11 with Rich Gould, who was the sports director for Channel 11 at the time. And after the interview, he was like, I think you'd be great in this field. You know, you have a really good speaking voice. You're confident. You have a good presence. And he's like, you know sports. You should apply for this position. It's open. So I went and did what I could to spruce up my resume, make it sound as good as it could, because I was coming in with no experience, obviously. Didn't even go to school for this. But went in there, did the interview. They really, really liked me. The interview went really well, but for a top 25 market, they turned me down because they said I was too green. I just didn't have, too green means being inexperienced. You're just really raw, you know, not polished for this level, you know. But they offered me a paid internship, so instead of going overseas to play basketball like I had planned, I stayed and did that 3-month internship with Fox 2, and 2 months later they gave me a call and offered me a full-time position.
The 2021 season with the Surge. You guys, what did you play during that season?
So I was rostered and I practiced with the team, but I was more so a reserve player than I was actually a player on the team. I actually stepped back and became a color commentator with Randy Molman. So we would be the ones who you would hear announcing and talking about the game if you were viewing it on our live stream.
Yeah, I know that season your team, you two, you was on the team of course. But it went undefeated up until the finals, right? The season they had undefeated season, they lost. It
was close. I think they have one other loss under their belt.
Okay.
But really good season. We were anticipating getting a national championship that year, absolutely. But the Glow is a tough team. And that league, the GWBA, is only growing and only getting better, and more talent is coming from right out of college who could be playing in the WNBA but didn't make the WNBA, so this is another opportunity for them to play in the States if they don't want to go overseas. So we're talking about girls with a lot of talent who can really hoop, who are playing in this league, and these teams are good. It's tough competition.
Yeah, I was speaking with the mayor and I asked her, can we get like the NBA team? She's like, well, we got the Surge. I'm like, oh, excuse me.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mayor Tashara Jones. Well, thank you, ma'am. That's what we love to hear, yeah.
It's like you guys don't get enough love.
Yeah, you know, I think that's always been a battle for women's sports in general, is to gather and gain the support of the community and really get the recognition that it deserves. But I think Khalia Collier and all of the players who have been throughout this program these past 10 years have really done a good job of putting themselves out in the community, getting engaged with the community and doing a lot of service for the community, which is why they have the support that they do. I mean, this has really been a grassroots effort. This isn't something where someone just threw a bunch of money into it and was like, let's see what's going to happen. This has been grassroots efforts, 10 years of just grinding to get to the point that they're at today. And we do have a really, really good following. We would always love more people to come and support, but our fans are loyal and they do show up and they do show out. So,
are you still involved, like, with the team? Like,
yes.
Do you have a role with the team?
I will always be involved with the St. Louis Surge. They have a special place in my heart. I was a fan whenever I was in high school. I was able to be behind the scenes in the office as a social media and communications intern, and then I was able to play. So this team is special in my heart, and I absolutely adore Khalia. Again, she's been a great friend to me, a great mentor to me. So they always have my support. I am actually working at Coach Tatum's, Justin Tatum, who is the head coach at CBC, but also an assistant coach for the St. Louis Surge. He's throwing an all-girls camp this week. Some of the St. Louis Surge players are up there. I'm volunteering my time to go up there and just hang out with the girls, pour out the knowledge that I've learned from the game to them, and hopefully that they're learning something, you know. But little things like that, even if I can't be a player, if I don't have the time to commentate right now, I'm always going to have my hands dabbled in with the St. Louis Surge.
Gotcha. Yeah, I met Jason Tatum's father. Mm-hmm. I didn't know who he was afterwards. I was on the elevator.
Really? Because they look like twins.
I went in my right set of mind. And I met you that day at Lowe's downtown.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the rooftop. Yep.
Yeah, he was there. And I was on the elevator with him.
For a 314 day.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Are you still with Fox 2 Kplr?
So I'm not with Fox 2 anymore right now. Okay. We came to the end of my contract and we were going through the negotiation period, and I had to eventually tell them that I was going to be competing in Miss Missouri USA. And although they were extremely supportive and wanted the best for me, it became a conflict of interest with the contract and me re-signing. So we gracefully parted ways, and no bad blood. They still support me, I still support them, but just with what I'm trying to pursue right now, I couldn't do both, unfortunately. So
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into that.
Yeah.
The competition.
Yeah.
So what made you want to compete?
You know, I never saw myself being a pageant girl. I never knew that this was going to be in my calling or in my path. I was all sports, and then whenever I transitioned to news and sports anchoring, I was like, this is it for me. I absolutely loved it. I was passionate about it. I wanted to grow in that field, and somehow, some way, God brought Joy Forrest, the previous title holder, into my life one day at the Bommarito 500 over at Worldwide Technology Raceway, and we got to talking. We became social media friends, I would say, started following each other on Instagram. I saw her post about people applying for the next Miss Missouri USA, and it just sparked my interest, man. I was like, let me go and see what this is about. So I started doing a lot of research on pageants, on the Miss USA system, the girls who have won previously, what transpires after a pageant, you know, like how are these girls' lives really changed, what happens. And after doing all that research, I came to the conclusion that I felt that this would be a really good opportunity for me to grow in my broadcast career, but also really make an impact in my community as a leader and as a face who actually has a platform. Not to say that I didn't have that as a reporter with Fox 2, but this is just a different level, something different. It's been a completely different roller coaster ride for me, but I've enjoyed every single second of it. This has made me such a better person, a better woman, a better leader, a better, you know, community member, and hopefully it will open doors in my career when that time comes. But right now I'm really focused on getting ready for Miss USA.
How was the preparation for this? Like, was it stressful? Was it kind of like, did you have your days where it was just breeze?
It was intense, but I wouldn't say stressful.
Gotcha.
Again, just because I didn't know anything, I had to do a lot of research. I was having to watch a lot of pageants. I was having to really take notes when I was sitting down with my coaches or talking to other girls who had been in pageants, because I had to learn everything from scratch in this position, even from where to go buy clothes, you know. I would like to think I put myself together pretty well, but in pageants, you want to be super polished, you want to be super well put together, and I am not a big shopper, so shopping is not my thing. It really never has been, and I did way more shopping in those 5 months of preparing than I probably ever have in my entire life. But I found a really, really good wardrobe. I got in the best shape of my life. From January to April, I lost 30 pounds that I didn't even know that I needed to lose, but that was just through consistent exercise, really tailoring my diet to meet the body goals that I wanted to have for myself going into the pageant. Did it in a very healthy way, and I feel great right now. I got a coach, which was probably a big help for me moving forward just because of the lack of experience, but she really gave me a lot of confidence and made me feel good about myself. But again, intense but not stressful, just because I felt called to it. I felt like God put that on my heart, and he was the one who was saying, go forward with this. I am with you. You know, I have plans for you, and I had a lot of confidence in that.
Yeah. When it came to, I guess, did the preliminaries right first?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Like, what all took place during that process?
So the state pageant for us was a weekend-long pageant. You arrive on Saturday, you check in, register, you go through all of your videos that you would do for the pageant that they put on the screens, your introductions. Then you go to the theater and you begin rehearsing all day up until showtime. So that's when you learn your walking pattern and how you're going to come out, how everyone's going to stand and be presented, what it is. So you do the first day where you go through your opening number, your swimsuit, and your evening gown. Day one's done. You get judged on evening gown and swimwear by the judges on the preliminary round. You wake up the next morning, and we did an interview portion where this was private. No one in the crowd was able to see this. You're just sitting down, you and the 5 judges, and you get to have 2.5 minutes to answer their questions and show them why you should be the next Miss Missouri USA. You are judged on your interview portion. So then all the scores from preliminary swimwear, evening gown, and interview are put together, taken, and then whoever has the top scores from those 3 categories moves to the finals. So everyone's presented the next day at the final round, but then they choose the top 15 or 16. It goes from 16 to 5 to 1. So it gets really intense. So everyone, 16, you compete in evening gown and swimwear again. Then they narrow it down to 5. Those 5 do 2 on-stage questions, and this is in front of the audience. Like I said, on stage, on spot. You don't know what these questions are going to be. And then they narrow it down from there, from your first runner-up, second runner-up, third runner-up, fourth runner-up, and then you have your winner, obviously.
And the last 2 were you and Miss Kansas City?
It was me and Miss Kansas City. Yes, Miss Autumn Black.
How was that moment at that time for you, before they even announced anything? You just sitting, I seen like the video.
Yeah.
You and her.
When it got down to us 2, it was a tad bit awkward because we, in the top 5, were standing next to each other this entire time, and she actually got the interview awards. So they did individual awards prior to. So when it got down to me and her, I did feel a little defeated as soon as it was, because I was like, she won interview, she won this pageant. I'm, chalk it up, figure out what you did wrong because you did something wrong, But when I grabbed her hands, I just, again, reminded myself the words, it was already written, kept going through my head. I was trying to prepare myself to not hear my name because I didn't want to be so heartbroken if I didn't. But I also just, again, it was already written. It was already written. It's yours. You're fine. I was just trying to stay confident. And then when they said, St. Louis, Mikala McGhee. You see the video, I literally just grab her hand and I'm holding, I was wanting to cry, and I just can't even believe that my name was just called. And I gave Autumn a hug, and she was incredible. On any given day, it could have been her because she is an absolutely phenomenal woman, hands down. And you hurt for the person who doesn't win because you imagine what it would be like for you.
Yeah.
And I just know I would be so sad to make it that far and then come up that short. But she's amazing, and she handled it with such grace in class, and I just felt such a sigh of relief. It was that moment like that you dream of almost, because I have been dreaming about that moment for so many months, and I sacrificed so much and worked so hard, and just to see all of that come together in that moment, to have my family there, it was amazing.
So what's next now? Well, I know what's next, but I want you to say it.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So now that I have won Miss Missouri USA, I am the state representative who will go on and compete for our state at Miss USA, which is one of the biggest and most notable pageants in the world. It's going to be 51 girls this time around, so all 50 states and then the District of Columbia. Yeah, so the District of Columbia as well, and we haven't even gotten a date on when Miss USA is going to be yet, so we're still waiting to hear. But at the end of this month, we are going down to Cancun, all of the state title holders, and we're doing a Miss USA retreat. So this will be time for us all to get to know each other, introduce ourselves, and we're just going to be doing some training as far as walking and interviews, styling, hair, makeup, all the above. So.
And then what after the Miss USA is the Miss Universe? Or
yes. So if you win, I'm just gonna put it out there. I'm hoping that I win. I really want to win Miss USA extremely badly. So if I were to win, then yes, we would go on to Miss Universe, and whoever wins is gonna go on to Miss Universe. But I'm gonna say I'm gonna be going on to Miss Universe.
We get into it.
And yes, I'm gonna be going on to Miss Universe, but after Miss Universe, that's as big as it gets in this system. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know, like how Miss Universe. I'm probably thinking of some conspiracy theories and stuff, like where the other planets at.
I know, right. I believe it's 61 countries. I might be a little short, but it's something like that.
Gotcha. So, I guess now, for the remainder up until the point you get the date, I guess you're preparing for that.
Yes, we've already started preparing. I am now under Van Bros and Associates. They are the official sponsors, I would say, or organization that hosts 6 of the Midwest states. So it's Missouri, Arkansas, Illinois, Kansas, Nebraska, and Oklahoma. So all 12 of us are going to be going to some boot camps together to prepare as our own, not with all of the other states and competitors that we're going to be going against. We've been shopping. I actually already found my evening gowns, so that's something off my chest. I just have to go get that altered and fit to perfection. Still looking for my interview outfit, but Miss USA does provide an opening number and swimsuit at this pageant, so I don't have to worry about that. But it is a week long. So state was a weekend. Miss USA is a week long, a whole ordeal. So we're going to be there for a while. So again, more shopping that I don't want to have to do, but I'm going to have to do, which is okay.
I've seen like the interview you was doing, you say you spent like $350 on the dress.
Yeah.
Versus other people may go over the top,
Yeah, I mean, some girls spend thousands of dollars. Some girls get their dresses custom made. It all depends on what floats your boat, I guess. I think me being new to this world a little bit was somewhat of my advantage because I didn't even know those were options. I didn't even know that girls were spending that much money on these evening gowns, quite frankly. But I found a dress that I fell in love with, which was the dress that I wore. I knew exactly when I saw it, that was the dress that I wanted to wear on the stage. I ordered it again. It was around $350. It was beautiful, it was classy, it was elegant, it was simple, and it was me. So that's the one that I went with.
Gotcha. One last question. Outside of, the basketball life, even the newfound life with the pageant, what do you do to I guess just get your own me time.
My own me time. Well, I do, as an athlete, I take a lot of pride in living a healthy lifestyle. So I love working out, being outside, especially in the summertime. I'm a big water girl. So if I could get by a pool, a lake, an ocean, travel. I haven't really been able to travel too much within this past year, just with preparing for these pageants and trying to figure out what the next phase of my life is going to look like. But I do know that I will be getting back to that soon, hopefully. I have been reading more. I've been writing more, which has always been a passion of mine, creative writing, poetry. I write down a lot of my prayers that I do or say want to happen, whatever the case may be. I like to spend time with my family and my friends, the people who I love. I like to go to events. You mentioned you're having Lydia Caesar come in here. I love to go to her concerts, meet with her, see her perform, just be around people in St. Louis and give back to the community. Go to a lot of these community engagement events where people are giving back and working with a lot of the organizations here in St. Louis. So I love living in St. Louis. I think there's so much to do here. If you find the good in it, you will live in the good of it, and it's a beautiful place to live. Unfortunately, every city has their shortcomings, but this is a fun place to be, and you can make the most of it if you want to. So I am enjoying exploring all of St. Louis and the rest of the world.
Gotcha. I actually got one more question. For a young lady who's coming up in the world, who may be aspiring to be in your position or go through certain things that you've been through in life, what words of encouragement could you give them?
Well, I would want every girl to know, I know that my story sounds like this picture perfect story. Grew up in Bridgeton, her parents are still together, everything was amazing, smooth sailing, good athlete, good student. Went on to play professionally. Now is Miss Missouri USA. From the outside looking in, I know my life probably looks sweet to a lot of people, but that's been very far from the case. I have gone through my own personal hardships. I've gone through hardships with my family. I have dealt with depression that I've had to overcome in very tough seasons of my life. So I just want to first let everybody know what you see on the outside is not always the reality of what's going on when you're on the inside. So I think we can all say that don't judge a book by its cover. But I would just let any young girl know that no matter what circumstance you're coming from or what trial you're having to overcome, that you can overcome it. And you don't have to be a victim to anything that happens to you in life. You can live victoriously and step into that victory, into that success, into this light that you have always been meant to live in. And I would tell them to believe in themselves, to go after everything that their hearts desire, to find your passion, and if that changes, that's okay. Keep chugging along, because it changes a lot in your lifetime as you grow. But also, most importantly, be good to people. Do good to people, be good to yourself, and everything will fall into place.
There you have it. Shout out to social media so you can know where to find you.
Okay, well, if you can find me pretty much on everything at Mikala McGhee, Mikala McGhee. And please follow my official Miss Missouri USA accounts. That's at Miss MO USA. And on Twitter and TikTok, it's Real Miss MO USA.